Hi guys, my name is Chasm, and right now this video you're watching is going to be a series of videos in where I go through all the maps that are currently in rotation. I'm gonna go through them one by one, and it's gonna be a controller guide. I'm gonna show you guys what to do, what to smoke, because I've seen a lot of role players struggle in rank, or people who are either forced to play controllers, and I'm making this video to try and show to you guys to show that playing controller isn't actually all that difficult. It's one of the most basic, but it's the most important roles in the game. And knowing these smokes that I'm about to show you can make the difference between being a good controller and a great controller rather. And also, I will like preface this that all of these controls that I will be showing you guys in every part are my personal preference when it comes to rank, and it does not reflect the meta currently when it comes to Pro Valorant, because that's a completely different setting. But I do personally recommend using these ranked for these controllers for rank specifically, along with the setup. If there will be lineups in this video or in the series, I will also be showing off those lineups that I like to use. Anyways, let's get on with this. The first map is going to be Ascent, and my controller of choice for ranked in Ascent is obviously Omen, because Omen is unfortunately, I'm not saying unfortunately because I hate Omen. I love Omen. He's one of my favorite agents in the game. It's very versatile, but I don't like it's Omen because it's Ascent and everyone plays the same agent, and Omen is like a must pick. Omen and KO are basically must picks on this map, but regardless, that's a Riot issue and not an us issue. Anyways, let's move on with this. Okay, so first thing I wanna start off with is going to be, we're going to focus on the A side of the map. And when I say A side, I mean basically this entire area from lobby to A main, wine, site, heaven, and also we're going to be doing a little bit of folk and the tree towards garden. This is tree, garden, window, heaven, site. Those are A. When I'm talking about cubby, that's technically going to be mid in my opinion. Okay, we're going to talk about this. Okay, first of all, as an attacker, we're going to talk about something extremely important and extremely, I would say, controversial. It's going to be the heaven smoke. Very often you're going to see the heaven smoke like this in your rankings, where they'll have it a bit out. There are three, and I will just preface this, there are three ways I've seen heaven smoked. This is the most common way I've seen. They'll drop it like that. The second most common way is where they'll drop it like this. Or rather, not second, but it's the third one. I've seen some pro teams use this. I've seen some ranked players do this. And once the smoke fades, like right there, I'm gonna drop the way I like to smoke. Like this. Those are the three different ways I've seen this smoke. Now, here's what I'm going to say. You're probably asking, oh, one is dumb. You're probably saying like, oh, that smoke is dumb. This smoke is better. That smoke is dumb. This smoke is better. This smoke is dumb. That smoke is better. You're probably saying things like that. And here's what I'm going to tell you. The first two, or the first one and the third one, is going to be, in my opinion, when it comes to rank specifically, the best way to handle smokes like that. It's the best way to smoke heaven. Now, why is it like that? Well, it does come down to the issue of what a smoker's job is. One of their jobs as a controller is to block off lines of sight, which is why the first smoke comes into play. Because when you're an attacking force and you're pushing onto site, you swing out from A main, you look towards heaven, you're not worried about this. You're not worried about that yet. You're worried about this specific line. This is going to be the line you're worried about. So that's what this smoke's job is to do. It blocks it off so the enemy can't swing off of you without being fully exposed here. And when they're fully exposed, you can play the spam game once they try to get out, unless they're jet. But even if they're jet, they won't be able to make it inside. So this provides you a nice amount of cover as you're pushing up on the site. Now, how about the other smoke? Now I'm talking about the pros and what gives you as a benefit. The other smoke I like to do, what I like to do personally, is this smoke right here. Or the edge of the smoke is flush with the wall, or a little bit deeper in this case. The reason being is, as a defender, if they're pushing out of this, they don't know if anyone's playing on heaven. However, as an attacker, this is something I actually talked with another mortal player, and this is something we discussed about, because there is a valid reason for both smokes, I would say. When you're pushing out, you still have that line of sight as an attacker that you have to worry about. But this smoke doesn't really come into play and doesn't really block up an important line of sight until you get deep on the site. If I'm correct, drop another smoke here. Pushing up here, this is the only time where it becomes any effect. And by this moment, it's very unlikely someone's going to peek out. They're either going to be waiting for the retake or grouping up around garden. They're probably not going to replay. That's the downside. I'm moving on to the downside of smoke. Is that it's not as effective for as long. So according with the other mortar player that I discussed this with and had a deliberation with, is what he likes to do is if he does that smoke and flush with the wall, he just doesn't smoke it on the execute. All he will do is smoke off the garden, push up, and once his team is pushing up, then once his teams are about to push deep into sight, that's when he drops this smoke, the flush smoke with the wall. So they don't have to worry about it, and it's going to last longer, and time isn't wasted, smokes aren't wasted. Okay? Now, with the first smoke I showed, the one that does cover the angle that most people will be worried about, this smoke right here, right there. What does this have as a downside? Well, very simple. Let's say imagine I have a KO flash, I'm sitting in here, flash, swing out, and I can fight very safely. And why is that? Because now I have this little trap area. This area becomes a little cubby that I can sit in without them knowing if I'm in there or not. Additionally, another way you could do this is you're playing in the smoke. Sova throws a dart, god dart if you can, and now he can spam. You as a player can spam through the smoke. And not even spam, you can shoot through the smoke with perfect accuracy because you know exactly where they are, and they have to basically take a gamble with you specifically to find out where you are. Again, you can pick and choose in your ranked games which smoke you want to do. Both are correct. Both are, there's nothing wrong with either. I will say that nothing's wrong with either of those choices. However, the most important thing is when you do one of those smokes is you communicate to your team what smoke you did. If you say like, oh, I'm smoking deep heaven, you're gonna drop this smoke.
Cover going out.
That's deep heaven. Oh, but I'm smoking. If you just want to say, hey, I'm smoking heaven, you can just drop this smoke, which is the basic smoke. But hey, just make sure you communicate to your team what you want. Now, now we're still moving on with attacking smokes. Another smoke you need to do is this garden smoke. What I like to do is I actually make sure to line it up here as much as possible. This little rivet, if you see this, it's going to line up right there. This is what I personally like to do. That's where I like to line up my smoke, because if anyone's playing these close corners and you're pushing out, their gun's actually going to stick out and you're able to fight more effectively. They're going to be sticking out and you can see them in the smoke and they won't be able to see if they want to hug those close corners. Additionally, if you do line it up that way, like if you do it right here, if you do line it up that way, it allows you to fight for cubby and garden. You can fight heaven if you want to. You can fight tree. You can isolate the cubby fight. Allows you to gain more space if you wish. Now on top of that, let's say I recommend this only for the postman. If when you're on the postman already, you could actually put your smoke up here. I do this basically every time I'm playing. If I'm on the post and I have a smoke up, I'm dropping a smoke on the door here to give myself and my team a nice little safe one way that the enemies will hesitate to push through unless they have a drone, a flash, or anything like they push through. They're dead here. At this point, they're dead. They're dead. They're dead. They're dead. They can't fight back until they even get here. Completely unfair. Now, let's say your team pushes heavy onto A side, like they took heaven control, and you guys have a garden control. If in the rare case you do, a thing you could do is actually a one-way over here. It's going to be right. There we go. This gives you a nice little one-way that you guys can fight heaven for. And again, if you're looking at it from the perspective of the defenders, this is not comfortable. It's going to be also awkward to clear this little cubby thing if you've cleared out, if the attacks have cleared out heaven. It makes it very, very awkward. You basically put it on this right here. See if we can line it up. It is, I will admit, a bit it is tricky, but it is a small area. But if you're able to line it up, oh, the amount of kills you can get with this is insane. Like very nice. Another is regarding for the post plant when they're trying to defuse a spike. One of the most common plant spots is here for front gen. What can you do? This one most people already know is you just drop a one-way right on there. Just drop a one-way, and when let's say it's a 1v1 and they try to defuse a spike, they can't see. They can't see at all, and if they even just tap it, they can't swing out as effectively. You're gonna have the major advantage in those types of fights as the attacker. Now, another smoke that you can do if you for some reason are running a double smoke. I have run into games like that where we're running a double smoke, especially now with Clove in the game. People are running Clove a lot, but I still wanna run Omen. What I like to do is I like to drop a smoke here sometimes. What that does is it creates more angles that you can swing from. You can swing right, you can swing left, you can swing through the smoke, forward. And also it basically gives you extra staging ground where you can pop flash out and fight those angles in a way that the enemy is not prepared for. It's very nice. Now, moving on from the attacking side of it, we're going to be moving into the defense side of it, which I would say has way more possibilities. We're actually going to start off with the basic ones. We're going to move forward and we're going to move slightly towards the back as we go through. Now, the first smoke you want to do is this one. Very important. I like to do this basically every round, where we establish control of A main by just dropping a one-way on that ledge right there. You're gonna drop smoke. One-way. Boom. Now this creates everyone has seen this one-way. It's a very strong one-way. When you swing out, you can't see anything until you get to here. And even then, it's depth shot. The downside is if your jet or dual player or whoever's holding this does get droned out, you can get spam from this ledge because you are able to hop up on this ledge here from the bicycle. The only way to get through that is to either flash, jump across, but in case of jumping across, it's not safe. But yeah. Now we're gonna move on to the A main smokes, except the A lobby smokes. The first smoke that I like to do often, because a lot of people like running Reyna, because it's ranked. People love Reyna in ranked. Is I like to drop this smoke right here. What does this do? Obviously, it does block off the A main shot. You can't go through this without using any util, unless you want a death sentence. But additionally, okay, I'm gonna drop another one just to refresh it immediately. Let's say I'm playing Reyna and I throw a flash out, right? I throw a flash out, throw a Reyna blind out. Where does it go? Reyna's blind can only be thrown a certain distance. What does that do? It makes the range shorter. So let's say the Reyna blind ends up here instead of like somewhere like in this area. What does this do? If I'm fighting here, if I'm playing for an off angle on this side or playing in cubby, I won't get blinded. I'm absolutely safe instead of it being in the middle of the site where it's gets significantly more value, right? And let's say now I can play this angle completely safe without getting blinded. This one not much, but again, it just gives you more areas of opportunities where you can play and anchor the site, just because of how far Reyna is from the choke where they typically throw their smoke, their blind throw. But also on top of that, it's a reason why I like it is because it's multi-purpose. Is because if I'm smoking like this, right, I drop the smoke, the enemy has no vision at all into main or wine. What does this do? You can condition the opponent by walking into wine and leaving an insert right here. Now, if you drop this smoke, now they're going to be worried like, oh wait, what if somebody's in wine? What if somebody's in wine? What if we get backstabbed? What if somebody's in smoke with a shorty? Now they have to use extra util or bodies and time to clear out that space that you've created just by smoking off. You don't even have to put somebody there. They have to check it. Otherwise, they don't deserve to be the rank you're in. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love using the smoke. The other one is obviously the very basic, you know, just regular flush smoke. Just make sure the smoke is basically flush against the wall. That's basically what you want to be doing with that every single time. Every single time. Now we're gonna move here to yeah, we're gonna be moving here to the A tree. If you're fighting for the A tree, there are two smokes you can do. What I like to do is this smoke right here, which is again just a basic smoke, covers it, flush with the wall. You have to use util to push out. But as a counter to that, my personal favorite is a one-way. What you're gonna do is you're gonna find this little ledge here on the arch here. You look for the edge. It can be a bit tricky, I will admit. And you're gonna just basically place your smoke right. Try and look for it. It is a bit tricky, I will admit. You're gonna look for it right like that, and there we go. You're gonna basically look for it around this height. You can go a bit lower, a bit higher, but basically I prefer it around this height right here, so you can see their feet. And if you look at this, this is a one-way basically in every possible way. They can't see at all in the tree. When they swing out, they can't see in the sight until they get here. They have to be here to swing in position, so it's a very nice position to play the one-way out. Additionally, if they are doing mid pushing from cat, you could also just do the basic smoke and drop a smoke here. So now this acts like a choke and you guys can fight for this. And if let's say they want to push in the garden, you could do a smoke like this. What I actually like to do is I don't smoke it flush, is I smoke it a bit further out, like something like this. Just so that now by the time they see, they have to swing farther, their mouse farther, just to clear this angle. And you can play around this angle, or if you really want that off angle, you can play here. You also play on the on up in heaven like that. Lots of things you can do. Now, another thing that I like to do is this. This is gonna be the anchor smoke. Basically, you're gonna grab your smoke and put it between Gen and Dice. You're just gonna drop it right in the center, right there. What does this do? It creates a space that your defender, your anchor player on A side can play around. They can play around the dice, they can play around Gen. It allows them to move from one side, part of the side to the other, being completely protected from a main.
Cover going out.
As you can see, I can now think, okay, I'm swinging a fight here. Got one, backing out. Okay, I'm moving here, so pop flash. Now I can swing off dice, take fights, and now like, okay, they're pushing me from Gen, and now they're pushing me from the left side of dice. Now I can play in the smoke here. And now they have to push me in a 1v1. And I already got two. And let's say there's no chance of me getting out. This is a really good spot for you to play in. Because this creates a very uncomfortable spot for the defenders, for the attackers rather, to clear out. And I guess this one's more of a hybrid, because if you are not able to do that, a thing you could do is as an attacker and as a defender and an attacker on post plan, that I personally like to do is also pop a smoke like this on hell if we have somebody playing hell, because this creates a nice little pocket that defenders can play in, that they're safe from, and the opponents have to swing out or use util to get through. And again, it does kind of create that weird pocket that you guys can play around as a defender or as an attacker playing post plan. As you can see here, you drop the smoke. It allows us to swing out here as an attacker, or as a defender rather, and makes it just really awkward for heaven players for the retake, or just for anyone to just take the space just because of how awkward the smoke is. Now, and here's a little special trick that I like to do, specifically Omen. Let's say we're going to be retaking from A. What I actually like to do is, instead of placing it directly on the floor, which is it's fine, placing it directly on the floor is fine. What I like to do is I actually find where I want to push it, and I actually place it farther up, way farther up. I push it farther up, like around here, and then I drop the smoke, and I wait for it to drop, and now I can drop with the smoke, and it just creates a nice little like distraction for the opponents, I guess, and it conceals you as you drop down. Another way you could do this is, if you don't want to do that, is similar to the L smoke that I showed you earlier. Is I'll place the Omen smoke right here, and if I retake, I'll drop with it, so I'm concealed the entire way down, and now I can isolate the fire on hell. or gen if I need to, and it conceals you, so it's a bit harder to spam you down, right? But yeah, that's pretty much everything on A. Now we're gonna move on to B, starting off with the attacking side of B. Now, if you're attacking on B, there's pretty much a handful of smokes that you're gonna be using through mid. We're gonna start off with the cat smoke because I personally don't like the way people are doing it. What I like to do with the cat smoke is I basically use this corner, and that's what I use to line up my smoke. And I just smoke it quite flush with the wall, like right here. This is how it should be, in my opinion. The reason being, because if someone does tuck in this corner, they swing out and tuck in the corner, their gun is sticking out, their head sticking out, but they can't see a thing. So it's going to be very hard for them to play in this little corner. The reason why I mentioned this, because I cannot tell you, by the way, this is like in Diamond, Ascendant, Immortal lobbies, where I've seen people smoke cubby like this, and it's gotten them killed. Because that's the thing I love to do, because if people make this mistake, I will use your mistake against you. Let's say you're pushing up cat. What I like to do is I'll just go in here and I'll just spam down this line. As you can see, everything lands down here. Most people are going to be hugging this wall because they don't want to be exposed to market, or minimize exposure to market as much as possible, and it's free kills just for me. That's why I like to make sure the opponent doesn't have they have as little space as possible when playing here. That's why I like to smoke like this. So if, just in the case that you do mess it up and like this part of the smoke covers this, if they do shoot through, you have only this to worry about. That's it, instead of this entire line, which again is beneficial to you as your team. Now, moving on to specifically this archer smoke. If you're pushing up mid and you want to default into cat or show the mid presence, usually what you'll do is you smoke up mid archers. If you do this smoke, you are throwing for your team. You're selling. You don't want your team to win. Reason being, as you can see, even though yes, it is a flush smoke, it is technically, on a surface level, a good smoke. Here's the issue with that. This is the issue. So you don't want to do this for this specific reason. How do you counter this? By actually pushing the smoke further out. Now, generally, this is a bad idea. I will say that it is generally a bad idea. You want as little poking out of your smoke as possible. However, in this situation, it's absolutely fine because it is still the difference between this and this is extremely small, and it prevents that weird little off angle that your team has to be prepped for when they're pushing up cap. And again, it just denies complete and total vision of the enemy unless they use any type of util, right? Yeah, that's why you want to use that type of smoke. Now we're going to, when you're pushing up, yeah. And so now if this you want to push into market, or you want to take some mid space, the bottom mid here, smoke that I like to do is I'll just drop this smoke right here, basically like here to here, or this corner of the market door. I'm gonna put the smoke right here, it just aligned with this corner and pizza. We'll drop the smoke right there. What does this do? If you're playing here, you can't swing out of it, and it makes it extremely... I apologize, something... the recording cut out there, I apologize. But yeah, basically, you want to align this corner with this corner right here. And you just drop the smoke. Like right there. Oh wait, that's from the attacker's perspective. Like series like this, basically. I throw that smoke. Again, it just makes it really awkward for the players here to stick around because now they have to worry about this entire angle and you're easily isolated. You're playing in pizza. And what this does is allow you to take that mid bottom control, and now they have to use Uzo to clear you. Another smoke that I like to use is a deep mid smoke, where I'll use this, and we're going to bombard market and pizza with utility. And what this does again is to just conceal, or rather block the vision of the players in deep mid here. And additionally, because if you don't know, so that's it, you can jump spot mid from here. This smoke blocks that off entirely. There's no chance of them being able to jump spot or mid bot by jump spotting here. The only way you would do that is if you're jet and you updraft, or you raise and you blast back upwards to check. That's the only way you're going to be able to see into mid bot, and I believe you won't be able to see into market or pizza at all. Yeah, those are the basic really nice attacking smokes that you would use on mid. Now if you're a defender, more often or not, you're gonna be using just a handful of smokes. Basically, you're gonna be using basic smokes like this one in mid top, where you smoke like this. It's a really good smoke, it's flush, it's nice. This is the perfect smoke you want to be doing. Sometimes you want to be careful, because if you do push it out a bit too far, you're gonna have a little bit of a thing here, and you're giving the opponents a chance to do a jump out and stay in that little bit smoke sub rosa without you noticing. However, again, I will acknowledge that the downside of this smoke is when you smoke it like that, you give the opponents a chance to tuck in this little corner and punish any late lurks you might have coming through mid top as a defender, or as a defender. And another smoke that you're going to be doing quite a bit sometimes is you drop a tile smoke here, very common. It stops them from looking into mid and makes them very, if you can actually use it very often if they don't take any mid top control, because now instead of arches copy, they now also have to worry about mid top, which is basically 180 degrees of I'm fucked, right? But another thing here is that something that you can do if you're playing in cubby that I like to do sometimes. I don't do it all the time because I don't, it's not that effective, but just an option, just to give you the option here, is I like to just do that smoke right there or in the other corner, or if I'm just feeling troll that day, I'm just gonna drop it on both sides. So now it creates a one-way that's really awkward for the enemy to clear out. It's a nice little smoke for me to do sometimes, I like to do. But again, I personally don't recommend it. I'm just giving you the option for it. Now, let's say the opponent does smoke. Let's say this is what I do if I want to fight for mid through arches. Let's say the opponent does smoke mid arch like that, you know? Oh wait, no, let's fix it. Let's make it the actual good smoke. Right there. There we go. Now I can see into mid. So what I like to do is, basically what I do is I just create an extension to that. Is I look for the edge of arches and I put the edge of the back end of my smoke on that. Right? So instead of, you know, like the regular pushed out smoke like this, the box catwalk, I like to throw smoke like this. What this does is now it creates pressure on any attackers pushing up mid, because now they have to worry about this entire angle, and when they push up, you still have that weird off angle that's up on the garden box here that you have to worry about. And additionally, it creates a little pocket where you say your KO or Sova can dart and pop flash out of, and now you guys can fight for mid control. You're probably going to be smoking out mid top here. You don't have to worry about 180 degrees, and you guys can focus on tiles, focus on B main, pinch them on B main, all that type of stuff. Very, very, very good stuff. Additionally, as a market player, what I like to do sometimes, let's say, oh, they're pushing heavy into market, or they're pushing heavy mid, and I don't have the time to drop a smoke here to defend myself. What I like to do is actually rush into market and play and drop a smoke right here. Again, when it comes to controllers, one of the things that differentiates good controllers from great controllers are their ability to be dynamic with their smokes. Typically, you're like, oh, troll smoke from my controller, but now you guys have easier control of holding market, and it makes it really awkward and for the attackers, and makes them have to use extra bits of util just to gain the space. And again, super awkward for attackers to fight this spot just because of how weird the smoke is, right? Now we're going to be moving on to B side, starting off with the attackers. With the attackers, you're going to be using this basic smoke. Basically you'll be smoking here. This is the CD smoke again. This one perfectly fine to flush, even if there is a slight jump up. You can't really, there's nothing to use it from. And you're also gonna want to smoke like this. This is the only smoke that's acceptable when it comes to market. You never ever smoke the platform. Yes, oh, what if they're playing in here? They're playing chamber or playing jet and they shoot and then get out. Yeah, I guess that's a threat. However, if you do that, now you allow the opponents to send a dart above the main choke, and now you're able to get spammed down and you can't shoot back at them or as effectively as they can shoot at you, because they can't, they can see you, you can't see them. and it gives that really awkward like off angle that the defenders can play in a little pocket. They won't get blinded, won't get scanned probably. Again, just bad idea to smoke the platform. Just smoke, mark it normally, make it flush, that's it. Now again, as an attacker, let's say now you're playing post plant. If you want to hold on for this front side control, a thing you could do, also technically also on the execute, you could do this smoke. A one way. I don't know why that missed. Or you could do this one way smoke here. Or this one way smoke right there. You can do either smoke, and this provides a nice little one way that you guys can play for, fight for, so it makes it really awkward for the defenders to retake the site. Same thing can be done here, just actually right here you're gonna be want it a bit higher. Now this creates a one-way smoke, well not really a one-way since you can't see them until you're here, but again they can't fight until they're out here, all the way out in the open, and they're open to main, lane, tiles, switch, CT if they don't have control of that, stairs, or if there's there's a dart like right here or somewhere here, they're gonna get scanned and they can get spammed through switch, right? Very nice post-plant positions. Additionally, if you do just want to fight for the site itself, an option you can do is this. Is you look for this roofing and you basically drop a smoke right there. What this does is gives you a one-way. That the enemies are gonna have an awkward time fighting through. The downside is you have to be worried about this angle here because they can see it to a certain degree. They can still spam you here. Be careful. Basically, but what you do want to do is look for that little roof extension, and you want it to be as far away as possible where it's effective. Except for here on lane, since you can't really fight that deep. What I like to do is like something up a bit more forward, like right here. This is a really good one. You can fight at this angle right here, and they won't be able to see you until they push through the smoke. Same thing can be done from on side here. Very, very nice off angle, or not off angle, but angle you can fight from using the one way. Now, another smoke that I have seen before isn't as common, but I was actually a big fan of it when it first came out. Is it's inspiration from the 100 Thieves actually. I got inspiration from 100 Thieves. And basically what you're going to do is make sure that you put this on like head height. That's where this end in the smoke is going to be. And you're just going to submerge the smoke into the ground like this. Now what does this do? Well, first of all, it does block them off from seeing into boathouse until they do this very awkward swing. But when they swing through, now they have to crouch so they're not exposed. They have to crouch, and as they're walking through, when they're crouched, they're slow, and it's a significantly easier shot for you to do. I do this not as much, honestly, because the alignment is a bit tricky. Because if you do go too low, you're exposed to boathouse. If you go too high, it doesn't do anything. So I would recommend practicing it a lot if you want to do it. I personally don't, but if you do, it's a very, very deadly tool you can use. I do use it, but not in rank. I use it more often when it comes to when I'm running tournaments, when I'm playing in matches, teams. That's what I like to run. I like to do that sometimes, especially since nobody's really done it ever since 100 Thieves in what was it, 2021. It's most people don't know how to deal with it. It's not something they're expected or prepared to deal with as a defender on the retake. Now another thing. Now as a defender, here's the thing most people don't know is you can actually place a one-way on this ledge here, so you can fight for early B main controls. Basically, all you want to do is find a green arrow and slot it in right above the. If I can find it, this can be a bit tricky. It's a bit a small narrow ledge. You're just going to drop it right there on this, and now you have a one-way that you can fight for. You can help secure B main control, and now they have to use flash, drone, recon just to clear the space out, and all you did was use one refreshable smoke. So additionally, if you don't want to do that, but you do want to make it awkward and still fight for the space, is you could use this corner and this box, the big one with the ultimate orb on. Smoke that off. What it does again, it now creates this little narrow choke point that they can't fight through unless they use Yuto. Additionally, if they do jump onto this and they're crouching and they're grabbing the orb, you know exactly where to spam. Free kill for you if they try to grab the orb for some reason. Now, as a controller, another thing you can do is drop a regular B main smoke here. No issues with that. Everyone knows this. Just throw it. But a lot of things people don't know is you can actually throw your one-way up here, or throw your smoke up here for a one-way. Right there. Now you have a pretty decent one-way that you can use to fight for space here, or even if you're up here in market, you can use it very nicely to fight for that space. Now, we're going to be moving on to a different type of smoke. It's going to be a retake smoke, or a smoke to help people get off site. Basically, you're just going to drop, it's very simple. All you got to do is drop a smoke in the middle here. If they're playing stairs, they're just going to use this to get out, get back into CT so you can play for your life. Or if you want to do a fast retake, you're jumping in. Let's say you jump, let me drop another smoke here. Like, okay, we're going fast retake. Blinding switch, pushing out. Fighting, now we're rushing onto site. Now we have full site control again because we're here ready to fight and you guys aren't ready for it. Now, on top of that, if you're a defender and you have somebody anchoring on B site itself, like they don't want to leave the site, here's how you can do to help them. Simple smoke right here, right? Now this creates another choke point that they have to use util to get through. Otherwise, they're at risk of, well, death. Right? They have to use util. And on top of that, another thing you can do is those reeds, those one-way smokes rather. Now you can do those again. Now it's your smokes to your advantage. Again, great way to hold things off. Now, another thing you can do actually is drop a smoke in the middle of the site. Usually what I like to do is I drop a smoke right here. So drop a smoke like right here, basically right around there. Drop the smoke. This creates a little pocket that the defender can play in, and if he can, it creates a little pocket that they can swing through, play around the side. That's very awkward for the attackers to clear. I personally love using it if we're on eco and now they have to get close and we can get right clicks on them, ghosts, sheriffs, or not sheriffs, frenzy kills, stuff like that. Just huge amounts of advantage you can get from doing that type of play. Additionally, a nice little thing that I like to do sometimes, just sometimes, it's not that often I do it, but it is an option for you if you choose to do it. So drop a smoke on the ledge here, and what this does is it blocks people off from taking a clean fight onto people trying to retake from lane. And now this gives your team a lot of space that you can fight around. Pop flash, jump out, or swing out, or you can drop down into sight and fight for that space. Additionally, if I am retaking, another smoke that I do like to use is dropping a smoke like right here. What this does is allow us to push out. We're going to swing out here, and now this gives us extra space that we can fight around. We can push through the left side of the smoke, push through the smoke, clear the angles, whatnot. And now my favorite smoke, it's a bit tricky, I will admit, but if you do get it down, it's going to be so useful to do. Basically, if we're going to be retaking and you know people are playing boathouse, you will look at this arch and then you're just going to look for it. Okay, it's a bit tricky. You can look for it. There it is. There's the green arrow. There you go. Just drop it right in the center. And now you have a one-way for boathouse, and you guys can fight for a site while the enemies are trying not to swing and not die. I personally like to do it on the right one more because I just find it more consistent and it forces them to swing towards this side of it, which exposes them to stairs and lane, while if you smoke it off here, they're more exposed only to stairs. But yeah, again, that's pretty much all the smokes that we're gonna be talking about here. Oh wait, and I forgot this one's again, it's a bit of a hybrid smoke, I guess. If you're on the flank or if you're trying to push on the site, I think a smoke you could do is this smoke right here. Basically, you just drop a smoke like this, and like, oh, you're throwing. Like, well, if you're on eco, now you guys can run on the site and not see a single person. If they don't have a single trap or any mollies, they're not gonna stop you, and you guys can use this to flood onto site. I personally call this a boaster smoke because that's where I first saw it from. I saw boaster run that smoke. But yeah, This is gonna be the first episode of my guest controller series in rank, and again, I'm just gonna go through all the maps that are currently in rotation. If a new map comes into rotation, I'm gonna do that as soon as I possibly can, with patch note date and whatnot. And I'm just gonna drop you guys some knowledge bombs on how I play controller in ranked. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment if you guys want to. And I really appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful day.